receive the power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, in all of Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth." After he said this, he was taken up before their very eyes, and a cloud hid him from their sight.
Tune in for a special Ascension Day service on the 9th of May as Radio Pulpit and Radio Cape Pulpit honor and celebrate the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Join us at 10 a.m. in the morning at the Radio Pulpit offices in Kilner Park, Pretoria, where our own Wynand Rousseau will deliver an inspiring message. Experience uplifting praise and worship led by our CEO, Carl Verhoef, and the Radio Pulpit Band, with a warm welcome from Reverend Hermie Damans, chairperson of the Radio Pulpit Board of Directors. Don't forget to bring your own chair. Admission is free and love offerings are appreciated. Can't join us in person? Tune in to Radio Pulpit 657 AM or Radio Cape Pulpit 729 AM or stream online via our apps or websites at radiopulpit.co.za or capepulpit.co.za. For more information, contact Letzi on 012-334-1284 or visit radiopulpit.co.za.
Kusukela enhlizweni yethu ukuya kweyakho. Radio Pulpit 657 AM, umngani wakho imihla ngemihla.
Mama, when are we going to the kids' fun zone? And I want to see the Dino Expo.
As soon as we get through the Rancho gate, Nana.
Hey, he sounds excited to enter the Rancho. I can't wait to be at the main stage.
But bro, what about the lekker drifts, eh?
Oh, yeah.
You're guaranteed to find Monati for you at the Rancho from March 28th to April 1st. Tickets at rancho.co.za. It's Monati for everyone.
This is Heart to Heart with Sibongile Mofokeng on Radio Pulpit. Heart to Heart.
We came out from that teaching on depression from Masiviwe and the South African Depression and Anxiety Group with the sounds of Marvin Sapp. Never would have made it. The time now 22 minutes just after 12, or should I say 22 minutes just before 1. Yeah, I was supposed to say 38 minutes after 12. 38 minutes after 12, 22 to 1. And now I am joined by our tech specialist, the founder of NPK Consultancy, says Patricia Khomani, and we're talking on the disability benefit element. My queen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
You are supposed to sing.
Oh, let's not go there.
Are you well?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm blessed of the Lord. So when today it's raining, you're like, I ain't coming. I will be here in my office. How's the rain treating you?
Nice and warm. No, the rain is something else. But I love rain, so it works out for me.
So I walk into the building and Abuti Godfrey is like, why do you have an umbrella with you? You're not supposed to be having an umbrella with you, Sbo. Allow the rain to pour down on you. I'm like, hey, ke tlapile bathong.
You don't take such risks.
But it's a blessing. We thank God for the rain. Yeah. No. I have taken my bath. It's enough. I don't need a second natural bath. I'll get the second one later when I get home. My queen, we're talking disability benefit element. We are in the month where we are learning more about autism. What is autism? And I've got so many parents who have children on the spectrum with different diagnosis. There are those who are on the spectrum because they are diagnosed with ADHD or something else, but they are on the spectrum like the children diagnosed with autism. And most of these parents are taking their children to school and they're asking about all sorts of things and how they can benefit from SARS because they pay loads and loads of money. I know parents who are paying for a child who is like 3 to 4, 5, and each month they are popping out something between 7,000 and 8,000 each month. And they buy nappies because their children is with a special need. So they'll be buying nappies, special food, special everything, and money keeps going out and going out. But most of them are like, but how do we get that money back. And you find some of the children are not even getting SASA. So let's talk about the disability benefit element today to those parents that we are talking about. Vandag, what is it?
So thank you so much once again. With regards to the tax element, right? Because right now we're specifying on the taxation element of it. There is only one section within the Income Tax Act for it's called medical aid tax credit. Because it's called tax credit, I need to just put a disclaimer before we even get into the deeper conversation. This is only deducted after you have calculated the tax payable. So it is not a deduction of an expense. What do I mean by that? When you're calculating your tax income, right, or your taxable income, you would say the income that you've received less the expenses that you have incurred in that year. Then it gives you the taxable income. You use that taxable income to calculate the tax payable. In normal circumstances, if you are deducting as an expense, you would deduct it before you get your taxable income. But with the credit, it only comes in after you have calculated your taxable income. So you've had your income, which is 10,000 Rand,
Mm-hmm.
minus all the expenses that you have incurred, which are qualifiable for tax purposes, let's say 3,000 Rand, right? Then it gives you the taxable income of 7,000. So let's say now you calculate your tax on the 7,000. For simplicity, let's say that the tax it's at the rate of 10%. There is no 10% rate. I'm just using it for the purpose of to simplify the calculation. And now your tax amount that you have to pay is 700 Rand. The tax credit only comes after that. So you'd be given a tax credit which will reduce your tax itself. It's going to reduce the 700 Rand. So, in terms of the Income Tax Act, we have something that you call the medical tax credit, right? So, the medical tax credit,
Mm.
you I'm sure you've noticed if you've got a medical aid that you would get what you call an IT3B that you have to submit to SARS. That is for you to be able then to get that tax credit. They have different amounts that are given that you can deduct on a monthly basis. So for one member, you get 364 Rand per month, which is about 4,000 Rand in a year. And if now within that medical that you've got more than one member. So let's say two members, then it would be the 4,000 times two, right? If you've got three members, then the third member going upwards, they have their own
Mm.
amount that can be deducted, which is about 246 Rand per month, which would amount to 2,900 Rand in a year.
Mm.
So that is just now the normal medical tax credit deduction. So then what they did was above that, if it happens that you've got a person with disability on
Mm.
your medical aid, right? Or you do have a person with disability, even though you don't have a medical aid, but these are the expenses that you incur.
Yeah.
Then there's a section that then they say you can use this section for you to be able to deduct the expenses. What kind of expenses do you deduct? You deduct your medical expenses that you have incurred. If
Mm-hmm.
the person goes to a special school, then you would deduct the special school fees as well. If the person, as you mentioned earlier in your example, right, that maybe they purchase diapers because the individual cannot function without them, then the cost of the diapers would also be included. The
Okay.
transportation to go to the special school would be included, for example, if the school it exceeds 10 kilometers within the radius. However, I also need to mention, and I know I'm saying a lot of information right now.
Yeah, you are. That's why I'm quiet, learning. Yeah.
I also need to mention that there is a percentage, right? And a formula that is used to calculate. So if we give an example, let's say the school fees is 150,000 Rand.
Mm-hmm.
150,000 Rand that the parent is paying. If the parent took the child to a normal school, how much were they going to pay? Let's say they would have paid 30,000 Rand. Then what you'd do in the calculation, you'd say 150,000 Rand minus 30,000 Rand. So, meaning that the impact of the disability is the 120,000 Rand. And of the 120,000 rand, based on the formula, then only 33% of that then will be taken as the tax credit.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
that
not
is.
even the full amount. So I just felt that it's an important disclaimer to mention that it's not the full amount that will be deducted.
It's not the full amount that will be deducted. Now, somebody's talking about severe disability element. What is the difference when we're talking disability element and severe? Somebody says, I took my child particulars and everything so that I can get that tax return to me, but I was told about the severe disability element. So is there a difference?
Yes, and the person who would be able to actually confirm whether this is severe or not
Is
would
the
be the
doctor?
the doctor, right? But if we would have to just summarize what the severe element would be, this would be a person that cannot function at all because on a normal day to day because of the disability. So if let's say it's a physical disability, the person is unable to walk, right? That
Mm,
is permanent, and then you are dependent on a wheelchair or you are dependent on somebody else in
mm,
order for you to actually move from point A to point B. That
mm,
is severe, right? You might
mm.
find that there might be I was listening to the show that you are having right now with regards to depression. You might
Yeah.
find that then there's depression, and the depression might not be a chronic depression. You know,
Mm.
they might still be able to function out on on some level. So that might not be considered as severe. So that can be considered as moderate. However, with that being said, both would still qualify. It just now there's a form that you need to complete. It's called an ITR-DD. That form, when you complete it, if it's severe and permanent, then you only complete it once in 10 years. But if it's moderate and it's not permanent, then you complete that form on an annual basis because they want to see has the situation changed, or is the person now feeling better? Are they now no longer considered as a person with disability, and therefore they don't need that additional credit anymore? Or is this permanent? If it's permanent, then we don't there's no need for you to go through the administration of applying that form on an annual basis. So that form would be enough or sufficient for the next 10 years.
Okay. Here's a parent who says, "Hi, Swangile, thank you so much for the teaching. Is a person who's on SASA also qualify for a SARS tax return?"
So the tax credit, and that's a very good question. If the person is on SASA, right, and they've
Mm,
got a person with disability, and they're using those funds from SASA to be able to pay for whatever those expenses are, then they are able to still qualify if
no.
those disabilities form part of the qualification. Okay. However, let's say that you get a reimbursement. So the person is under SASA, they've used the funds to pay for the diapers, for example, and they get a refund, whether it's from medical aid or gap cover or another third party for that specific cost, then you would not qualify because you're already receiving that money back. So this
Okay.
is for those costs that they know that you can't, there's no refund for it.
There's no refund for it. So it's for
Yes.
people who are not on any medical scheme. Should I ask that question? But
If you,
I'm wondering how many medical schemes like really give a reimbursement
and
in these terms, because my experience with the parents, it's a very hard journey. It's a very tough.
yeah,
Even the application thereof at SARS, some of them just leave it because it
the
becomes your
administration.
a test.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can stretch. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are under medical aid, you still can claim, all right?
Okay.
Because it forms part of your medical expenses. Medical aid is paying on your behalf, granted, but you had to pay the medical aid. So you had to make a payment to the medical aid on a monthly basis in order for you to have access for them to pay whatever the expense is. So it's if I'd use a normal example would be I, for example, Patricia, I've got a medical aid, right, in my normal capacity. Because I've got a medical aid to cover my normal medical expenses, I
Mm-hmm.
am able to then claim for the normal medical aid tax credit. So the same principle applies for those who have disabilities, then they can claim for the additional.
Okay.
The another example that I can use would be there was a time that I used to use a dermatologist, right?
Mm.
And I would pay the dermatologist, and then the dermatologist would I would get a refund from my medical aid. So
Mm.
now because I'm getting my refund from my medical aid, then that would not be an extra medical cost that I would go to SARS to claim. But I can't say I need to claim this because that's already included within my medical aid. It's not an extra expense. With the people with disability, we need to remember that it's not only the medical expense that they incur, right? So even if the medical aid might have paid for other stuff and it is included within the medical aid expenditure, you still have other expenses that you would want to claim. You still have the school fees, you still have
Mm.
the goods that you need to purchase for the purpose of this person to be able to function. You might need to get special aids, special
Mm.
software. If the
Mm.
person is blind, you might need to get a dog that is trained, if the
Mm.
person is blind, or you might need to do some training, therapy, speech therapy, and so forth, right? So these are all other expenses that might not be included or that the medical aid might not pay, but you might want to claim as a parent or as the guardian of this person.
Mm. All right. Okay. I think I assume that you have answered this one because a family member was asking about the school. If it's included when you go into SARS, should we be including the money paid for school fees?
Yes. So if the school is specifically for special needs,
Yeah.
then yes, you would. If it happens that the school is not necessarily for special needs, but they do cater for students who have special needs, you can also claim, but it would be the difference. So you would compare, um, let's say you go to Athlone Girls High. Sorry for mentioning Athlone Girls High. That's where I went, and I can't think of another school. And this, let's say that the school fees is 7,000 rand for any other child without the disability, and now they charge 10,000 rand
Mm.
for a student or a pupil with special needs, right? That 3,000 rand would be what the person would use in terms of calculation how much they can claim. If now this child went to a special needs school and the special needs school was charging 10,000 rand, you'd still make more or less the same calculation. So how much would they have paid if they're in a normal school? If they're in a normal school, they paid 3,000 rand, then the 7,000 rand would be what you would use to get your calculation in terms of the claim. So it's not the full amount. You'd actually have to say, if my child did not have any disabilities, how much
Mm.
school fees would I have paid if I went to a normal school? If the normal school charges 3,000 rand and now
Mhm.
you're paying 10,000 rand, the difference is what you would use in your calculation.
So, which sleeps should we be putting aside? Every
Everything.
minute.
Everything. And I guess this is now the administration
Wait,
part where
wait, my queen, wait. You mentioned the transport. So, even the petrol money that you spend taking this child there?
yes,
Okay.
because so and hence I understood when one of the parents mentioned that they went and they left it because of the administration, right? You need to keep all the supporting documentation,
Mm.
and that is just simply because SARS might audit, and when they audit they want verification that the expenses that you're claiming actually did happen, right? And the only way that they can verify that is through the supporting documentations that you have given them. Unfortunately, you need to have all of those supporting documentations, and you also can just create sort of like a list of for example, expense one, transportation, right? Expense two would be purchasing the specific items that you need specifically for the child. Expense three might be that you've got a specific person who caters to the child. So this is not the normal housekeeper that you would have who deals with everything. This person would have to be appointed specifically to assist the child. So let's say you've got that. So you actually have a list and you put your total amount. And then with that list, then you'd have your supporting documentations. So if you've got school fees, the statement of the school, right? If you've got the groceries, the qualifying groceries that you know the person can only eat certain things because of the condition, you would need to put the slip. So everything,
Mm,
everything. And that is just,
everything.
yeah. And that is just for in case you are audited, right? Because if you are audited and you don't have those supporting documentations, the expenses where SARS does not cannot verify, they will remove that.
All right. Another family member says, I just want to find out. I was diagnosed with MS in 2009. It attacked my muscles. I can't run and get very tired. Can I claim disability by SASA? Okay. Will you be able to respond to that?
With regards to SASA, no, I don't know. And then with regards to tax, right? So they've paid the expenses. Uh, First, maybe let me ask, what does MS stand for?
Multiple sclerosis.
Okay. I
Yeah,
think
multiple sclerosis.
they might be able to, if the doctor can state that this condition has actually affected them to function on a day-to-day basis. So that's the most element, the most important element. Are you able to function normally on a day-to-day basis? Are you able to do your normal activities, right? If you are able to do normal activities, then the chances become slim. But if you are in a situation where you can't do normal activities or you do them with difficulty and your doctor can verify this, then the chances then become higher for you to qualify.
All right, my queen. Sure, we are left with 2 minutes. Hey, today, ne? But I'm so glad the family is engaging, and I really love that. So, what do we say to family today as we are closing? I know we'll be coming back again before the end of this month because our time has been shortened a little bit now. But we will be coming back with you again. But what do we say in closure?
In closure, I guess I would say is get the information that you need with regards to whether the condition is qualifies, right? So SARS has a list of the kind of expenses that you can claim, different types of expenses, like I've mentioned before, from school fees to the items that you're purchasing, to transportation, to the medical expenditure, to the special aids that you might need. So just be acquainted with that. However, you need to make sure, and this is something that I didn't mention, you need to make sure that there's a form that you complete. That form needs to be completed by yourself. It consists of your information if you are the one claiming. It consists of the information of the person with disability. It consists of the information completed by the doctor. If you don't have that form, then you cannot claim the whole 33% that I mentioned. You might only be able to claim 25%. So it is important to fill that form as well, as it increases the percentage of what you can claim.
Okay, my queen, thank you so much. You are running. You're a runner. You are a runner.
I'm trying to
Thank
beat
you.
the time.
Yeah, but thank you for running with me. Thank you so much for running with me. I can't wait to hear more when we talk to you again before the end of this month. May God bless you. Beta Libra says willing. Okay, I'm not quite sure, but thank you, Beta. Thank you, Beta. Or is it Beta? Thank you so much for that. For family members seeking to talk to you at NPK Consultancy, how do they do that?
They can contact us on WhatsApp on 082 652 5207, or they can email us on info@npkconsultancy.co.za, or follow us on all social media platforms other than Twitter. We're not on Twitter, but on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, they can follow us at NPK Consultancy.
Thank you so much, my queen, and thank you for running with me. This is something that is well needed. We'll be continuing with you very soon. Love you. Have a great one.
Thank you so much. Love you too.
Radio Pulpit 657 AM umngani wabo bonke abadinga ukukhuthazwa. Silalele ku-app yethu noma ku Radio Pulpit